So Erica, tell us about your role and how long you've been here at SalesRabbit.
I've been at SalesRabbit for 4.5 years. I am SalesRabbit's Chief People Officer. That means I own and drive the strategy for all things related to people, everywhere from talent, culture, um, organizational design and structure, as well as employee experience. And I align that strategy with our business goals to drive outcomes and high performance.
Great. Thank you. How can technology like SalesRabbit actually support better culture for door-to-door teams?
Well, we rely on technology in everything we do, certainly in field sales. SalesRabbit can provide a lot of solutions to pain points, can solve communication issues, provide a tool that is effective in helping teams to communicate better. At the end of the day, also can drive better results with revenue.
Great. And tell us more about your day-to-day and strategy of what does a chief people officer do on a day-to-day basis?
A lot. um, Essentially, Chief People Officer can be synonymous with a CHRO, anyone who owns anything relating to people, right? Definitely leveraging our humans, the workforce, and the people that make the business run, and all things related to them. So I manage a team that helps accomplish a lot of this work, and we advocate for our people. That's everywhere from talent acquisition to new hire onboarding, then the entire employee life cycle. That would include anything from training, learning and development, of course, through all types of employee experiences and engagement, benefits, and of course the things that we don't like to manage as much, and that would be, any HR issues that might arise.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And when we're talking about, with organizations, having those life cycle of an employee, we're talking about culture. How big is culture, as far as a priority for you here at SalesRabbit?
Oh, top priority. Yeah. Culture isn't just a poster.
Mm-hmm.
Culture lives in how people treat each other when nobody is watching. And organizations with strong culture can lead to better business outcomes. When culture is strong, people perform better, they stay longer, and they help the business to be successful.
Perfect. And when we're talking about door-to-door teams, why should door-to-door outside field sales teams prioritize, or not just the teams, but the companies in general prioritize culture?
Why should
Yeah. Why specifically? Like, because door-to-door sales is so inclusive and very, almost tribal in a sense, with, teams being very tight-knit. And like, how important is cultivating a strong culture in their workplace?
Well, it's really important. As I mentioned, great culture drives better business results, also creates loyalty,
Hmm.
also represents your brand out in the world. So you have to be intentional about culture. It impacts business, but it creates a great brand.
Definitely. We see a lot of times these companies, they'll get started and they'll start ramping really quickly, and especially in the door-to-door space as they're getting up for busy season. How do you feel that companies are able to protect culture while they're ramping up and just having a lot of growth?
I think that it's important to remember that growth doesn't ruin culture.
Yeah.
Again, you have to be more intentional. So, where you might shift in a smaller organization from individuals who are culture keepers or culture promoters,
Mhm.
and that can be effective, as you grow, you have to move into systems, systems that reinforce the behaviors that you want to see. That means that people need to understand what good looks like. They need great communication. They need to be aligned on the things that are going to matter and move the needle. And so growth can be exciting, but culture has to be a really important piece of that. Leaders have to be intentional in how they build culture.
I agree. I love that. If a founder just started a door-to-door team, what should their first culture priorities be? What do you think?
Start at the very, very beginning. As soon as you're building the team, you have to be thinking about culture. I think that that's going to start with hiring. You got to hire the right people. Hire people who already buy in and believe what you believe. Hire people that are going to help you be better. Hire people that elevate. Hire people that are culture keepers.
Okay. And it's kind of like, I feel like when you're trying to find the right people, it's kind of finding like the diamond in the rough. Like it can be kind of a brutal task to try to find the right people, because you can find anybody, but finding the right people, it can take, that's the right culture fit it can be hard, difficult.
It can be, but if you have clarity as the leader, as the person who's sourcing the talent, hiring talent, onboarding talent, if you have built culture, if you have integrated the values that are important to your organization into all of those experiences, everywhere from the first touch point of the organization interacting with a candidate through the onboarding and then through the life cycle of that person in the organization. For example, potentially progressing, promoting, being trained and turning around and leading a team themselves. If you build your values and reinforce your culture in all of those touch points, you can positively impact culture as you grow. I would hope that would be a priority to everyone. Then you have to be selective. So, you start by reinforcing the behaviors you want with the people you have. Call out not just those people who are closing deals, close out the behaviors that are promoting the kind of culture you want as well. Keep culture inclusive, not exclusive. Make it equal opportunity, I guess, so that you're recognizing all of the good and how people show up in their work.
I love that. I actually got that kind of segues really well into when you're talking about top performers, right? They're just closing. How can leaders tell when healthy competition is turning toxic?
I think that you can tell by what people stop doing. So if people stop being collaborative, if they stop speaking up, if they stop wanting to be helpful, you've probably got some red flags you need to address.
Okay. And how would you balance, you have your high performers, you have a range of reps that you'll have, during the season, right? From high performers to low performers. But how do you balance driving high performance and metrics and expectations without burning out your reps?
Well, I think that with strong leadership, anything's possible. Yes. So if you have a plan and your leadership is on board, they understand the goals, they understand how they need to drive results, and then they do that, right? In expressing the importance of hitting metrics, being very clear on those expectations in terms of revenue generation is important. We just have to keep in mind the culture component at the same time, because someone who is a top performer potentially in revenue but has some troublesome behaviors is going to really bring the organization down as a whole. Does that answer your question?
I think so. Do you need some water?
Maybe.
Yeah. How are you feeling with these questions?
Okay. Fine. It's a little different than reading them off a piece of or my digital screen. Where'd Sean go? Just
Well, it's all good. He's really he helps a lot with the technicalities.
if I put this over here, is it not going to show?
I think that will catch.
Here, I'm going to hand it to you then.
I did think that answered the question quite well. I think we're just balancing high performing reps without burning out. Yeah. Okay. The next question is what keeps reps around besides money, Erica? Like what cultural elements drives loyalty that reps come back season after season after season?
I understand that money is a huge driving factor. You'd want it to be. I totally expect that. But I also think people want to grow. They want to progress. They want to be understood. They want to feel like they belong. That generally is going to be connected to their experience day in and day out. Are they being heard? Are their ideas being heard? Are they able to contribute in meaningful ways? And then can they turn around and help others around them? Are they being given opportunities to influence positively in ways that recognize the good that they're doing year over year?
Yeah, I think that's true. I was having a conversation on Friday with someone here, and we're talking about how a lot of people find door to door when they're in a very transitional point in their life. You know, they may not be knowing what the next step is. They may be trying to, just pivot. And once they do come into door to door, and they find that there is a lot of success here with money, but you gain a lot of a lot of exposure to, a different, just a different, I guess, life in the sense of like there's a lot of support with a very strong people that are very strongly like, vested into your success. And then, you get, steps and regiments and into a routine and self-help. And so I think I agree, when companies are able to support that and wanting them to feel like they're part of, not just part of a company, but part of a team and part of I would say almost like a tight-knit support system.
Yeah, that experience matters.
Yeah.
What that is, even if it's seasonal, right? It
Yeah.
matters. Either that experience for a rep is something they want to come back to, or it's not. And that, is influenced by a lot of things, but generally it's influenced by other people that they work with. Do they enjoy working with those people? Do they enjoy selling for that company? And so much opportunity there again from a culture perspective. But typically people want to be working with other people that they enjoy working with. They want to be challenged to do better, certainly to earn more, but to feel successful, to feel like they have achieved whatever it is that they'd set out to achieve.
Absolutely. If you could give one culture building tip to a new founder that's ready to build their first door-to-door sales team, what would that tip be?
Recognition.
Why?
Understanding what it is that's going to drive the behaviors you want in your people to build collective success, and then recognize it. Call out those things. Be complimentary, reward, incentivize. You got to recognize the behaviors that you want so that it can be replicated.
I think that's a great tip. I think everyone wants to be heard, everyone wants to be felt, everyone wants to be recognized. So I think that's a perfect tip. Okay, awesome. Are you ready to switch gears?
Sure.
Okay, so we're going to play our segment, Red Flag, Green Flag. This is where I'm going to hand you a red flag and a green flag. And there you go. And so I'm going to ask you about 10 questions or so. And I want you to, it's kind of fun.
Okay.
And I'm
Feel kind of small.
I know, those are the biggest ones I could find, actually.
It's fine. It's fine.
I went to like 3 stores. I know.
You should have given me some little hands.
Next time.
We're good.
I gotcha.
We're good.
All right. So basically, I'm gonna give you like one liner on a situation, and you gotta tell us whether it's a red flag or a green flag and why. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Top closer brings in deals, but consistently cuts corners on CRM notes. Okay, red flag.
Red flag.
That was quick.
Love someone who's a top performer closing deals. But accountability matters. If someone is just not doing their part in processes and systems, it can get messy.
Mm-hmm.
That could be disastrous. And so you just don't want to reinforce bad behaviors. Red flag.
Okay. Okay, a rep starts mentoring a new hire without being asked.
Green flag all day. Love it. I'm just a firm believer in extreme ownership. I think that shows up when people mentor voluntarily, right? They're doing it because it's probably who they are.
Yeah.
Green flag all day. That means that they are, again, modeling the behaviors you want. Love it.
Okay. A rep brings a Bluetooth speaker to their area and bumps music between doors.
Wondered where you were going with that. I mean, it kind of depends on the vibe. I'm going to go with red flag.
Okay.
While it might be fun,
Yes. Yeah.
risks appearing unprofessional to customers. So again, I think that we have to remember that culture is also external,
Yes.
right? It's not just internal. Culture definitely also lives in our brand and how that's represented out in the world.
Yes. Yeah. Your personal brand is so important. And we've had many talks and conversations just recently about our personal brand.
But the company's brand.
And
as
company's
well,
brand,
right?
yes.
So,
Yeah.
somebody bumping music, I don't know. Somebody might think it's fun. I would just say, let's err on the side of being professional.
Yeah. That might be the difference between getting a sale or not.
Yes,
right?
it could be.
Yeah. Okay. A team lead only praises top closers during team huddles.
Red flag. We're back to behaviors. And again, while we love a top performer, that's amazing. It feels exclusive, right? If a leader is only highlighting that one thing, it might be sending the wrong message over and over again, right? We've got to be equal opportunity in our recognition and reinforcing the right behaviors. So that seems like potentially a toxic focus if that's all that's being complimented and called out.
Just the top performers people care about. Maybe in the team, people might feel like, oh, they only care about that one or two reps that are closing. They might not care about the rest of the people on the team. Yeah.
What I say, kind of a mantra that I like, is no brilliant jerks, right? And so if we were to call, a top closer, for example, brilliant in this case, then we wouldn't tolerate that if there were, some jerky behavior along with it. I'm not saying there is, right? We have plenty of top performers who are fabulous people. But what I'm saying is you have to call out the other behaviors, people who are team players, people who are willing to jump in and mentor without being asked. You have to recognize people who, potentially push through a slump, for example. Maybe we're flat, through the middle of the month and finished strong and exceeded metrics. So really, really, again, looking for all of the characteristics, traits, qualities, values that you want to see showing up in behaviors.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, next one is a manager runs daily competitions but doesn't check in one-on-one.
Oh, red flag.
How often do you do one-on-ones with your team?
One-on-ones weekly with my team. Here at SalesRabbit, we say minimum across the org. Expectation is, twice monthly.
Yep.
So, group success is great, but coaching, mentoring, that happens one-on-one. And if you don't have a relationship with your team individually, if you don't know the person, not just the rep, the worker, right? You've got to know the person. Just not going to be able to produce the kind of experience for them or the results for the business.
Absolutely. I think especially, we're in the middle of summer and you may be seeing teams that have one or two reps that are experiencing the summer slump, right? They might be getting in that rut, right? They haven't been closing as much. Something is happening at home, external factors, right? And yeah, if team leads aren't having that one-on-one time to be able to make sure, how things are, how's their area looking, how's just caring for them as a person, I think there's a big miss.
Yeah, at times like that, leadership just isn't one size fits all.
Yeah.
So you can't do the same thing for every person. That doesn't always drive the results you want in terms of that relationship between a leader and a team member. So it's important to have one-on-ones because you got to know your people. You have to know what makes them tick, and you should want to.
Yeah, absolutely. A team. This is also about a team manager. A team leader treats the sales team like a family.
Ooh, can I do that?
Yeah, you can do it.
A yellow? Maybe you wear a yellow? Could go either way here.
Yeah.
Depends on how you define like a family, right? That could be good. It could mean high trust, high care.
Right.
That's great. Like, I like that, like a family. Like a family could also mean no boundaries, avoiding hard conversations. That would be a no.
Yeah.
That'd be a red flag. So we need to have boundaries. We need to be able to have hard conversations. So
Right.
kind of depends on the definition of like a family.
Yeah, I like that yellow flag.
Yellow
All
flag.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, next question is, a leader promotes reps quickly to leadership roles without training.
Oh, red flag. Red flag. Sorry. I know my colors. Red flag. Yeah, your leaders are going to make all the difference in an organization. So I like to say culture starts at the top, but it lives in the middle.
Well, sorry, can you repeat that?
Culture starts at the top, but it lives in the middle.
Okay.
So you really, really have to be intentional about who you're promoting to be leading other people. Are they ready? Just because individually they've been successful as a rep, as an individual contributor, doesn't necessarily translate that that particular individual is going to be a great leader.
Yeah.
And so, could be, but it requires training. You got to make sure that that person is prepared to lead and influence a team. So just promoting somebody just because they're a great
Top closer.
No. Doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be making a decision that has put someone in a leadership position who's ready for it.
Yeah, especially over a team of how big of a
right.
team.
Consider the impact there. Consider the consequences, good or bad. It could be great if that person is prepared to be a leader, but just because they're a top closer doesn't mean they're automatically, and nor do they know how.
Yeah.
Right. They just will probably require some upskilling and some training.
Just like you would with any role, or especially at door, how much training they take just to prep to go to the doors. So with a leadership role.
Yes. Yeah. It is an investment of time and energy for sure.
All right. Second to last question. A manager customizes incentives based on rep personalities, not just blanket cash bonuses.
Green flag. Big green flag. Again, we're back to the relationship, right? If a people leader understands each individual, again, they probably know what makes them tick. So customizing incentives, understanding what that individual really wants and needs and what helps them to feel motivated, super important. So I love a leader who really knows their people and then caters programs, recognition, interactions to continue to drive and motivate that person.
And then the last question is, the operation teams, they join ride-alongs once per quarter to stay in touch with the field.
Love it.
Yes.
Green flag. Yeah, that's huge. Cross-team collaboration is so important, but experiences like that build empathy. Right?
Yes.
Now, if you're the ops person, you understand what your field rep is experiencing, and vice versa. That gives just opportunity for interaction between those two individuals, and it just helps us understand each other and how important we each are, again, in collective success. I think it's great.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that one. Um, so yeah. Well, perfect. Well, thank you so much, Erica, for getting on down the rabbit hole with us, and to be able to talk more about teams and and teams cultures, and how door teams can use and emphasize culture for best success.
Yeah,
So, thank you.
so happy to be here. Thanks,
Okay.
Arj.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. We'll see you on the next episode.